Welcome back to Little R&R. Join Russ Johns and Ronald Earl Wilsher as they discuss life, liberty, and all things extraordinary. They're untapped, uncensored, unabridged.
Me. Wow. I cannot believe we're having another episode. Ronald, what are you doing?
I'm talking to you, RussJohns.com. How cool is that?
I'm thinking a Little R&R Uncensored is
Unleashed.
Unleashed.
And what was that other you?
Untapped.
Untapped.
If you haven't tapped into this, you haven't lived. I mean, really, come on, folks. You don't know what you could learn today unless you listen in.
Join the fun.
What is it? You don't know what you don't
know what you're missing.
Yeah.
Who is that, Aretha Franklin?
I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe that was Cool in the Gang.
It could be. Well, hey, it's cool with us, gang.
Hey, unless it's Merle Haggard or Conway Twitty, I can't help you. So.
Well, I want to expand today, and we're going to be talking about if you're challenged with anything in life, there's a way that you can achieve the logical next steps.
And the results you want.
And getting the results you want. And the way you're going to go about that is hire an expert. You know, we're having a great time in the studio here today. We got a lot of things that we've done, a lot of things that we've accomplished, a lot of goals that we're setting, a lot of things that have yet to be achieved that is in our mind, and our goal setting is different for everyone. And we're looking forward to helping people in the community achieve greatness with podcasts and sharing good information. We're going to be doing a video cast, a video podcast, and a lot of different creative stuff as it evolves over time. And we're here to help you. And one of the things that people get stumbled or get challenged with at times is,
get stumbled?
Yeah, they stumble along the way. They get tripped up. Yeah, so
is
what to do next.
Okay, here's how I did it, if you want to know. And again, the reason we're doing this, Russ,
Get your notepad out.
is
why are we doing
number
this?
One, it's our journey. And this is how we've done it, and this is how we've been successful at the things we've done. But the other reason that we're doing it is to help you do the same thing, because, as we always say, success leaves clues for people that choose to pay attention.
Yeah.
If you go and find somebody that's doing what you want to do, and you do the exact same thing that they're doing, only with your personality, you'll get the same or similar results.
Yeah.
So as we go through these things, we want to talk about things you can do immediately that will help you if you do them immediately. And they're not difficult. As we say, we have a rule here on this R&R.
Yeah. It's uncensored.
Unleashed, untapped, is it must be simple. We're not going to go into a lot of lengthy theories and talk about all this SEO and FTP and blip, blip, blip.
I am not a brain surgeon, and you are not a rocket scientist, right?
Oh, actually, I am. I didn't tell you.
Oh.
Actually, I agree. So anything that we're going to bring you on these podcasts, they're going to be very, very simple things.
Yeah.
And the simpler you make it, the more fun you're going to have it, and the more effective it's going to be. So we're going to talk about hiring an expert.
And I think that it's more than just hiring an expert. It's allowing yourself the opportunity to believe in a concept that opens your mind to possibility. I mean, imagine what you could do. Imagine what you could be. What we're doing is nothing. I mean, there's no secret sauce. There's no magic dust. It's all something that is very methodical. It takes a little effort, not a whole lot. It takes a little bit of time, and it's over time that we're going to get results. Showing up, being there every day, being consistent with your message, being consistent with the way you expand, and you have an email list that goes out week after week after week.
Very persistent.
And how long have you been doing that?
4+ years, about 4.5 years, without fail, 50 to 52 emails a year.
So just for our listeners, I'm not as far along in the journey of doing that. So I've taken a lot of time to look at experts, study other experts in the community. We've had different conversations. I picked up some great tips from you and some of the things you're doing. Observation is key. Pay attention to what's going on.
But observation and then implementation.
Oh, you have to have both. Yeah,
it works better. It's like I always say, dreaming is really nice, but they work better that after you wake up if you actually go and do something.
Wow, execution is key then.
Right.
It's actually I have to get out of bed and do something.
Right.
Wow.
Oh, Ronnie, I want to make all that money. Oh, you mean I have to get off of my couch?
Oh,
darn it! I mean,
I turn my TV off.
Yeah, tonight's like what, The Voice or The Big Bang Theory comes on, and
I haven't.
So you gotta have to decide, right?
I haven't had TV since '95. So
another reason I like you.
I've not owned a TV since 1995.
Well, and that goes back to when we talked about time and what you choose to do with the 24 hours every day that you get.
Yeah.
So that's very smart of you, actually.
So Einstein had more hours because he studied time?
So much smarter?
Yeah, he's smarter because he had more hours in the day.
Actually, no. He did.
No?
He had 24.
Holy cow.
Does that help you?
Yeah. No, not really. Steve Jobs, I bet. He had more time.
Yeah,
right?
He had like 24 and a half, I think.
All right. So the point we're trying to make, and we're making it on this podcast today, is hire an expert.
Find somebody that's done what you've done.
Or is doing what you want to attempt.
Right.
And connect with them.
Right.
And then what do you do?
Well, first of all, I tell people all the time when they come to me, I say, well, I have this person that's showing me, and I'll pull them up online. And I'm saying, I hope you're not paying them too much money because it doesn't appear they know what the hell they're doing.
Right.
So I always tell people, be careful who you take advice from.
Right.
Because they may not know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. We were talking earlier, Russ, about, one of my heroes was Johnny Cash, John R. Cash. You know what the R stood for?
Really good.
Actually, nothing. That was just his middle initial.
He just had a middle initial.
And that was it.
Yeah.
John R. Cash.
Oh.
Hello, I'm Johnny Cash. You remember that?
Yeah.
Anyway, he said back in before one of his friends, his name was Roy Orbison. You probably heard of him.
Yeah.
And Roy came to Johnny one time, and I saw this on one of Johnny's shows. He had a show like 69 to 71 on CBS. And Roy came to him. He was feeling down. He needed some help in his career, right? And so he was trying to get some motivation from Johnny. And he asked Johnny what he should do. And Johnny, he said, well, Roy, he said, I think you should probably lower your voice and change your name. And he said, Johnny Cash, like, man, was that some bad advice? And so, I mean, not long after that, he came out with Pretty Woman, and, he was just like the talk of the universe. So the point in all that is if you're going to take advice from somebody, make sure that they're achieving the results that you want to achieve.
Yeah.
Because, it always reminds me when we talk about expert, Don Henley in the Garden of Allah, remember? I am an expert. Why? Well, because I say I am. So, I mean, sure, it's easy now to say you're an expert, but, I always tell people I'm an expert on two things, mercy and grace, because nobody ever needed it more than me, right? That's what I know about. But I also do know about some other things that I've done with my business that has allowed me to own my time. And people ask me, and we're going to talk about this in the next segment about speaking.
Yeah.
And people ask me, or is it the next episode?
It's after the break. It's the next episode.
Oh,
it's next week.
Next week's episode. Okay.
Yeah.
So a little preview.
Yeah.
People always ask me, it's about becoming a speaker. They said, how do you get all these speaking engagements, Ronnie? I said, here's the tip.
You probably tell them that you're a speaker, right?
Tell people you're – see, Russ, you're so damn smart. See, most people, they never become wealthy because it never occurs to them that they can, right? As we talked about, Russ, earlier, most people never think the thoughts that lead them to take the actions that get what they desire. So it all starts in your head.
And a lot of people don't even they have the thoughts, they have the ideas, and they never act on it. I'm a perfect example of some of the things that we're talking about here. I know what needs to take place. I have the skills and some of the technology available to me to do it for other people.
It's just doing it.
And now I have to do it for myself.
Right.
So building my website, building my email list, sending it out, actually sending it out. I can send out a newsletter, not a problem. I can send out an email that is very, very good. I believe. I like it, so I'm going to send it out. I'm going to share it.
And there's other people that will like it.
And I'm going to do that week after week. 2014, I've committed to this. And I think that's the other part of it is when you hire an expert and you have an accountability partner, that's a commitment beyond what you've previously committed to.
It's kind of like having a personal trainer that makes you show up.
Yeah. If you're paying somebody to train
Right.
you on what you're doing,
It's going to increase your attention factor, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Pay attention, folks.
Right.
Because we're going to have to be here and we're going to have to be taking a break here. And after the break, we're going to be finishing up this conversation about being an expert, hiring an expert.
Expert status.
And I think expert status is another part of the equation. So stay in tune and as we take a pause for the cause. Hey everyone, it's Russ Johns here, and thank you so much for being with us on the podcast today. Ronald, Earl, Wilsher, and I will entertain, educate, and inform you about things you need to know as you're building your personal brand. Stay tuned and don't go away. We're back in the saddle.
Yay.
Yippee-yi-yay, cow patty.
Jim Stafford.
Oh, yeah. So,
let not your heart be troubled. One of my favorite verses.
Really?
Really? You're going to learn a lot about me, ain't you, Mr. R?
Yeah.
Ronald, Earl, Wilsher here. That's RussJohns.com over there.
RussJohns.com right here. Hey, we're in the studio today, and we're going to do a little R&R Uncensored and share the knowledge that is rattling around in our brains.
With you, that's going to take longer than me because I don't have that much, but you have more.
It rattles a lot. It rattles a lot. And so we were talking about, before the break, we were talking about hire the expert. And, that could come in many forms and different versions for everybody. School teachers, educators, university. It's all different for everybody. And what we're going to do is share some of the tips and tricks, some of the tips and things that we've done in our career as we go through this journey and produce results. And so I have mentors. I have people that I have a board that,
Mastermind?
Yeah, I have a mastermind group. I have different resources that I pay attention to and I listen to, and we were always bouncing things off of each other. So it's good to have that. And so if you're just starting out in the social media world and you kind of have some confusion as to what needs to happen next, what are some other things that you've had experience with, Ronald, that could people think about as they're going through this journey?
Well, as we've talked about in several of these podcasts, Russ, I always tell people there's 3 rules that I like to follow. Rule 1, simplify. Rule 2, simplify more.
Okay.
Rule 3, when in doubt, refer to rules 1 and 2.
Yeah.
So if you can simplify somebody's life, they'll give you money. And so no matter what business you find yourself in right now, a lot of people out there consider you an expert. Well, everybody that is your customer considers you an expert. Why? Because they give you money.
Yeah.
Right? So what you want to do is you continuously build your brand equity by learning new things. And you can do it from a mentor, a mastermind. You can hire a coach. I read somewhere a while back that Tiger Woods has like 12 coaches.
Yeah.
I'm like, I thought he already knew how to play golf. But
well, apparently playing golf at that level, you need a lot of feedback on what you're doing at the minutia. It's every little level.
It's right. It's the competition is greater and greater.
Yeah.
I watched something with the psycho blonde that I know, Catherine Crawford Wheat.
Yep.
You know her,
Yep.
Russ. She likes UFC,
Okay.
the Ultimate Fighting Championship. She got me hooked on it.
Wow.
I don't know why she likes it, but anyway, there was a guy talking about all these guys, how good they are. Everybody at the top level, they're good at everything. But what makes the champion? He just capitalizes on one thing that guy's not that great at.
Right.
And it's all just so minute, see?
Yeah.
So that's as it is in life, see?
And coaching is part of the equation. Have somebody that can actually give you the feedback, the authentic feedback.
And make you aware.
Right.
See, so think about this. I tell people, you don't have to be really, really, really good at what you do to make a lot of money because most people don't care. Most people don't show up, right?
Right.
Show up on time, be honest. The other 10% is a dogfight. It's called free enterprise. Keeps the gene pool clean, right? Keeps the quality up. So what you want to do is, as we talk about, and we've talked about this in other episodes, and I'm sure we will in further ones, decide what you want, decide what you're willing to do to get it, and then just start doing something. You can correct something. You can't correct nothing. See? And I tell people, we talked about this earlier, Russ, it doesn't matter how fast you go, as long as you're headed in the right direction and you don't stop. See, most people, the big mistake they make is they compare themselves to other people. Comparison is the genesis of all confusion and delusion. See, when we see successful people, all we look at is the success. We don't see the hell that most of them went through to get there.
Right.
And so what's the way to leverage your learning curve? Use the experience of other people.
Yeah.
Right? So if I want, like I didn't know podcast. When you mentioned podcast, I'm like, I know I should do one. But so I should get with Russ. We'll use his expertise, right?
Yeah.
So we're actually living what we're teaching and talking about.
Yeah. And we were talking a while back, and I have yet to launch my video side of the equation. And it's just a matter of focus, It's just making the decision in my head to say, I'm going to do this. I don't care if it's perfect. I'm not going to get stuck on perfection. I'm just going to get started and do it. Same with the newsletter. Okay, I've committed in my head that I'm going to be consistent every single week. I'm going to get something out every single week and produce results that I can deliver to people that care, people that are important in my life, and
add some value.
And as a result, of coaching and mentoring and saying, hey, this is something you can do. You're capable of doing this. Sometimes confidence comes in the strangest packages.
Right.
It's like, okay, well, once you decide your thoughts in your head and your self-talk is, I can do this. I can help. And sometimes having an expert reflect on the points that you have been confused about.
And keeping you on track.
It's, shiny object is big in a lot of people's world. A lot of noise nowadays. Everybody's vying for your attention. You're spanning and it's hard to stay on task. So get an expert in your life, a mentor, a coach, a consultant, somebody that can actually, give you the real meal deal and give you some information and feedback in a feedback loop that's going to be productive for your goals.
Right. And so that's we had the example. I think we talked about this on an earlier episode of R&R.
Yeah.
Is I went and jumped out of an airplane. I want to say 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
At 14,000 feet. And so all I did is I drove out to the airport. I found an airplane, right? And I had a guy in it. And so I jumped in the airplane. And he drove me up to 14,000 feet, and I jumped out. No, that ain't how it happened.
That's not how it happened? He said, sure, have a nice day. See you later.
It was kind of funny. The guy that got me to do it had just sold me a very large insurance policy. He was my insurance agent. I'm not even making this up. after everything came
Life
back.
is stranger than fiction.
The guy's name was Rick. If he's listening to this, he's probably laughing. But after I signed and all my tests came back, hey, you're approved, and it was several $1 million life insurance policy. He calls me up and said, "Hey, Ronnie, this is Rick. You want to go skydiving?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but I have one question. So what's your cut?" Right? Yeah. And he just started laughing because so we get out there, and of course they train us a little, and it was a tandem. But it was a really cool experience. But my point is, I depended on the expert of the guy that showed me how to do it. Yeah, right?
Right.
And so whatever you're doing or want to accomplish, there's been somebody that has done it before, right?
Yep.
And so smart people don't make mistakes that have already been made.
Yeah.
They go and find somebody. When I sold new homes, here's another example. I mentored under a guy that was very successful. His name's Phil. Phil, if you're listening, hello. We would sit down when people would come in. He would listen to me. You know, I sold new homes out of a new model out in Cinco, and he would listen to me. And after it was over, I would go and sit down in front of his desk and say, "How'd I do?" And he would critique how I did it.
Yeah.
Well, it's a really cool ending to this story because after, not too long after that, he had been doing this for a while, and I went down and sat down in front of his desk. "So how'd I do on that one, Phil?" And he goes, "Damn, that was word for word." He never mentored me anymore, which was kind of funny. And that
when you can grab the pebble from my hand.
Well, that year at the Christmas party, I asked him. I said, "Phil, how much money did you make this year?" And he told me. I said, "That's all." We never talked about it again, but he's a cool guy. But my point is, learn from somebody that's already done it. Find somebody, make sure they're accomplishing the goals that you want to accomplish, and then pay them for their expert status, for their brand equity, and it really, really helps you.
Yeah. Hey, folks, this is great tips, Little R&R, and join us next week as we continue the journey of understanding and learning about what we need to do in the social media world, email lists, branding, and
all things fun.
All things fun. And join us for a comical understanding of life.
And we're going to talk about next week becoming a public speaker, right?
Yeah.
So that's fun.
I like that. All right, folks. Take care.
Ronald, Earl, Wilsher here.
RussJohns.com.
There you go. That's all you need to know.
Perfect. Later, folks.